depreciation question. So we have three accounts that we're dealing with here. So we have to deal with a vehicles account, provision for depreciation, and disposal. So the vehicles account should have all of what the original cost of any vehicles that I bought or sold. If I get a new vehicle, it'll be on the debit side. If I sell a vehicle, the original cost of it will be on the credit side to get rid of it. Why debiting those being plus or minus? That's because of the bookkeeping key. Remember, this is an asset account. So with this question, we had no vehicles at the beginning, so we're dealing with this for 3 years. So at the beginning we had no vehicles because it doesn't tell us that we had any vehicles. So we bought a vehicle for 80 grand, so it's plus, so it's on the debit side, and that's going to be bank. Okay, is the reference that we have for that. And that happened on the 1st of the 1st, 2000. I got the date right. So you do need to make sure you have dates for this. And at the end of the year, we had no disposal. So therefore, at the end of the year, we have a balance of 80,000 on the credit side. So we total it, which means we start the next year at 80,000. So that's the first one dealt with. The provision for depreciation account stores all the depreciation that happened over all the years that I own these vehicles. So total depreciation for the year was 4,000. So we had no depreciation because we had no vehicles at the beginning. Okay, so this balance would have been all the depreciation written off over all the years up to 2000. And we had no vehicles, so we had no depreciation written off. And during this year, we wrote off depreciation of 4,000. So that's profit and loss, or you might call that maybe depreciation could be put in there as well. Now we add up, we got total, so we got 4,000 on the total on that side, 4,000 on that side, so that means that the balance now in this account is 4,000 euros. So that's all the depreciation over all the years up to the end of 2000, which then becomes the opening depreciation to start off 2001. 1st of 6th, 2001, purchase another vehicle, so that's to do with how many vehicles we have, so that goes into the vehicles account. So I bought another vehicle, so I'll bank. The date for that is the 1st of the 6th, 2001, and the amount of money is 60,000. Okay, so it doesn't say anything about selling a vehicle. Okay, so that means that if I add those two numbers together, that gives us 140,000, which becomes my balance. So I have nothing. So I had a total of 140,000 originally invested on the vehicles that I have. So it's two vehicles. They originally cost 140,000. That doesn't mean that they're worth 140,000. They're worth less because some depreciation is taken away. But this vehicles account is always what the thing originally cost. Okay, next one. Total depreciation for the second year. So now we're looking at the depreciation again. So that's going to the provision for depreciation account. So depreciation for the year was 7,000, so I'll put that in. And it doesn't say anything about me selling a vehicle. Okay, so therefore if I add these two numbers together, that gives me the total balance that should be in this account. So we have 11,000 of a balance. So that 11,000 represents all of the depreciation written off on all vehicles over all of the years up to the end of 2001, which becomes the balance that we start off 2002 with. Then 1st of 5th, 2002, sold a vehicle for 60,000 that cost 80. The book value is 72. Okay, so first of all, we need to sell a vehicle, okay, for 60 that cost 80. So the first vehicle here that we bought for 80, we're going to get rid of it. So that happened in 2002, so that's going to be called disposal. Why is it on the credit side? Was because I'm getting rid of something. Remember, this is an asset account. The plus side is the debit side because of the bookkeeping key. The credit side is the minus side, so we're getting rid of something, so we're disposing of something that originally cost me 80,000. The date for that was the 1st of the 5th, 2002. And now the book value on the date of disposal is 72. So that means it was worth 72, even though we bought it for 80. So that means 8 grand depreciation had been written off on this vehicle over the years that I owned it. So that means if I go to my provision for depreciation account, my balance, in my provision account, I'll have to take out of the 11, I'll have to take out 8 grand for the depreciation on the thing that I got rid of. So that's disposal. So I'm taking it out of that account. So I put it on the debit side. Remember, this is a liability account because it makes an asset account smaller. And I have on the 1st of the 5th, 2002. Now, so down to my disposal account. So my, just change the name of this here. So provision. So provision for depreciation. We have 80 grand there. Okay. The thing originally cost, 8 grand provision for depreciation. The thing originally cost 80 grand. And if you subtract the two of those, that's where you get the 72 from. That's what the thing was actually worth. I better put my date in. Okay. Now, it says that we sold it for 60. It was worth 72, so that means we made a loss. Now, this account has to balance. So you have to have the same on both sides. So if it turns out that we have more on the credit side than the debit side, then we'd have a profit. So you'd have another number would have to be put in here called profit. In this case, we have less on the credit side, so we have a loss. And the loss is the difference between the two sides. So 80 grand minus 6, or 60 and minus 8. So we've made a loss of 12 grand and just put the date in there as well. So that makes the two sides add up to be the same. So we've done the vehicles account, provision for depreciation, and the disposal account.